you don't hustle, you don't eat.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Billboard Hip Hop editor Carl Lamarre. And I think y'all know it's like Black History Month right about now. It's been Black History Month.
Yeah.
And
Black History, yeah.
Yeah, every single day. And in case you don't realize who I'm with Black royalty.
Oh man, thank you.
The legendary brother, Swizz Beatz.
Blessings. Happy to be here.
My brother, I gotta ask, because we're in a new year right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of hungry Black entrepreneurs out there.
Exactly, as they should be.
So I gotta pose this question for the Black entrepreneurs. What does it mean to you to be a Black entrepreneur in 2021?
Oh man, one, I'm just happy to be here, starting my professional career in 98 and to still be of relevancy in 21 and still have plans for 10 years from now of things to do, 10 years plus actually. And I just think that it's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to, tap in a little bit more in things that you want to do. I feel that the universe is set up for the changing of energies. And, when I look at our brothers and our sisters, the things that they're talking about now, they're talking about investments, they're talking about shares and companies, they're talking about cryptocurrency, when that talk used to not be there, so with the social medias opening up, the clubhouses and all of these information hubs, you see that when people have the knowledge and the information, they gravitate towards it, right? So that's what I've been happy to see, because a lot of people weren't fortunate, like myself, to be in those different rooms with people from around the world to get that particular information. Now you can go in a clubhouse and sit and just listen in a room with all CEOs or all tech people, or
right.
And that's what I love about the educational part of social media, period. Like the ignorant part, that's just going to be what that is. But the educational part, a lot of people can get a lot of wins right now from that.
Absolutely, and it's crazy that you taking it back to 98 to now. That's 23 years right there. That's a whole man right there, like age-wise.
Yeah.
And I say that because going back to 98, coming up as a producer for Rough Riders, did you already know in your mindset, like, you know what, I'm not going to just focus on producing. I'm going to tap in to different areas of business?
Yeah. I didn't really look at it as business in 98. I looked at it as fun, which I still look at it as fun, but I also had to learn to add the business word to fun, right? Like music business, art business, fashion business, all of those things. We got to know the importance of the business part of it, because it can come back later and haunt us if we're not thinking business. But in 98, I was definitely thinking about having fun to the point where I didn't even know that music was a business, right? And I always tell the story of how, I had all these checks that I didn't know I can cash while I was living, how I was living in the projects.
Yeah.
And then found out that those were real checks, because it was never taught that, when you produce a song, these royalties come. You get paid from your sales from it being played on the radio. Like, we never took a class from that. We went like from the block to the stage. It was, it wasn't no intermission. Like, wait a minute, before you get to the stage, go through this educational class. It was like, nah, we just trying to survive from getting off the streets, and the stage was a more safer place, right? So nobody was thinking education. Nobody was thinking business. We kind of like stumbled into business, and that's my whole family, the Rough Rider family as well.
Man, it's crazy that you say that, coming, out of the BX, coming out of the trenches. You still got to acquire some kind of discipline, some kind of knowledge, being in the streets. What can you say, like, you took with you from your time in the BX that you bring into the boardrooms, into the business meetings, into the business ventures today?
Man, what I take from the Bronx with me every day is common sense.
As simple as that?
Yeah, common sense.
Wow.
Like, when you look at different things on the streets, a lot of things are common sense.
Yeah.
You take that to the boardroom, a lot of that is common sense. it's educational and also, but I know a lot of smart people that's way more educated than you, me, and a lot of other people, but they don't have no common sense, right? So they make bad decisions, or, you know, that's just like, you know, if you're in the middle of the street, you walking across the street, and the light is red, but you see this car racing up the block, are you going to still keep walking because it's the law that that car is not supposed to come through the red light, or you going to use your common sense and get out the way?
Yeah.
Right? So it's a big difference. And so I just learned that common sense was a big factor in a lot of different things. And even with me going back to school, I was nervous. But then I started kicking it, my common sense started kicking in when I would answer questions, when I would do certain things. And I couldn't understand like how so many of these company CEOs that was in my class that's running billion-dollar companies, I knew more about their companies than them by the end of the terms.
Yeah.
Right? Because of common sense, not because I specialize in petroleum. It's because I'm just taking the basics that they're using as their business strategy and applying it to common sense, right? And so it's been fun, man. But I'm still a student of life.
I love that you said that you're a student of life, because I'm curious, how do you combat that nervousness when going into a business venture, or like even going into your first business venture? If you can tell the fans, the listeners, what that business venture was, and you were able to just push away that shyness and pursue it 100%.
Well, I wouldn't really break it down to one particular venture. I would break it down to an overall scenario. I think that the key to all of this is being honest. You know, we don't be honest with ourselves.
Right.
And I think that hurts us more than it helps us.
Wow.
Right? So I'd rather go in a meeting, be challenged with something, and tell the person who I'm meeting with, you know what? I thought I was prepared for this. Give me a day and let me prepare for this and come back, so I'm not wasting your time and I'm not wasting my time. But what people would naturally do, because of the different pressures that we have on us, we feel like we got to be these type of ways to get to the next level. But what I notice in business is that people want to do business with real people, right? So it might be a person that's more equipped than you, more advanced than you, but not as honest as you.
Right.
They're going to give the other person that job because they was like, you know what? I respect him because he told me he couldn't do it. He didn't let me go out there and waste the investment and come back and say, damn, you know what? I really shouldn't have did this job. I took it because I needed this to do this. And the guy and the owner going to say, man, why you ain't just tell me that? I would have put you in the other program and then you would have built up to this. But now I'm sitting here stuck with a $20,000 bill because you wasn't honest. Now you're going to lose your job completely. Now that go in your resume.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? So like sometimes we just got to tell people we don't know something and understand when we don't know something and do the homework to change what we don't know or change what we don't like. But take the time out to do the homework on it as well.
You know what I've always admired about you when it came to your business savvy, and Forbes actually pointed this out in a profile they did with you. You always valued the respect factor versus the money. Why is that mentality so important to have for you in business?
Because I know a lot of people that's not happy with money. I know a lot of poor kings.
Wow.
Right? Like I know a lot of poor kings. So, you know, when I go back to what I said before, was like, I never knew that I was in the music business. I was having fun. What does that mean? That means that I never did music for money. Not that I always had money, and people say that, oh, you can say that now because you're wealthy. No, it's really the truth. Like I did it because it was something that made me feel good. You see what I'm saying? And then it turned into all of those things. Because if you make history, the money's gonna come anyway. Right? So like, try to focus on making history and be as different as possible in the universe. You know, like why would you want to be 101 when you got the opportunity to be the one that do what you do?
Yeah.
Right? And I started off as 101 and I was sampling James Brown loops and doing all these different things. And when I cut back and went to the synth and invented and created my own sound, I became the only Swizz. You see what I'm saying? I could have been the 101 producers that may have did some great things, but I wouldn't have been who you're sitting in front of right now. You understand? So it's a big difference because that lane goes with you through the years with longevity. You know.
Has there ever been a time you felt like you had to walk away from a business venture because you felt like that respect value wasn't necessarily there for you or met your requirements?
All the time. All the time. My team gets mad, upset. They don't get upset no more, but they used to get upset with me because I would turn down so much, which so many opportunities would seem like a lot of money.
Yeah.
And but it's just like, I don't know, man. Like I grew up, in a very tight-knit family household. The Dean family is big on protocol. My family is big on protocol. My family is real big on respect. My family is real big on, we never gonna beg you for anything.
Wow.
Our family is big on knowing our worth as well. And that's the key. Like, you have to know your worth, and you got to know what the other strategy is. From the other side, it's like, okay, they want me to do this campaign for Black History Month, but like, what about the rest of the months? Right? So like, why is everybody knocking down the door right now? Like, what? I love to do it, but like, how can we continue this just outside of a month? So like, even this month, I turned down like a lot of things because I just know that they're not real.
Yeah.
And they using me to be a part of something that's checking a box, and it's like, nah, don't check the box. Like, do the whole thing.
Would you say like that mindset that you have as far as like aligning yourself with certain businesses today, like how would you say is different now versus, I guess, 20 years ago and back in 98? Because it's hard trying to align yourself with certain businesses and knowing, if this one fits my morals and my beliefs, back then versus now.
Well,
because you're younger.
Well, there's no, I haven't seen a business that's 100% perfect yet. That's something that we have to create. All the businesses have their flaws that I've been a part of, that I witnessed, that I see, that I consult for, that I'm on the boards of. Like, they're all a work in progress. Just because it's a big, successful $1 billion company or $100 million company, that don't mean that it's a perfect company. Like, I know companies that have billions and still taking losses, right?
Yeah.
So people got to understand that there's no such a thing as a perfect company as we know it today. So when I choose to do business with a company, I have to see what's my win in it first. Because by the time that company is sitting down with you, they see they win already, right? So you have to see your win, so it's an even exchange. Because you got to know that company one day is going to say, hey, we don't have the budget no more, or we moved on to different things, or this or that. You gotta know that that's gonna come. So you gotta have your exit strategy as well, because they're gonna have their exit strategy before they even meet with you and say, listen, we're gonna do this with Swizz, and we're gonna get this to this, and then you know what, we move on and figure something else out. So they already have their exit strategy before your first meetings with them.
Wow.
So you have to do the same.
Listen, I could run down your resume, treat this like a Wikipedia session, like your wins, like Reebok, Bacardi, Verzuz. We know what time it is when it comes to that. But you touched on wins and losses. I want to talk about the losses. Because I remember speaking to Rose about this, and he said it. He loves the losses because how much he learned from it. So I'm curious to ask you, was there a particular business venture you could say like you took a loss from, but you gained such a huge lesson from it? And if so, what was that lesson?
I wouldn't use the word loss, because I felt I was educated in those businesses that one may have felt that lost. Like, the only thing I felt that I lost is time.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like some businesses I could have monitored my time a little bit better. Knowing that I have a family, and knowing that I have other things that I also do that builds my financial structure.
Right.
But we get excited about announcements. We get excited about the honeymoon of the new relationship, and then we end up wasting so much time that we can't get back. Right? So every company that I've been with made money. We've made great money. My track record with partnerships with brands is pretty stellar. I don't even talk about it enough. I was just reviewing it because I'm in the middle of doing something. I was just looking at all my things I'd done prior. Now, every company that did business with me got money.
Wow.
They went up. Their shares went up. Everything went up.
Any business that surprised you, I guess the outcome of it, the result in a positive way? Like you were just like, oh, I knew this had potential, but this actually did better than I thought.
All of them. Because like the way I pick businesses is low hanging fruit, right? Like when I went to Reebok, I couldn't even mail nobody a pair of Reeboks. You understand? Like, but I knew that the DNA of the brand had some great history to it.
Yeah.
And with the right curation, we could bring it back. You understand? And so, and it was a great educational thing. I mean, Reebok got a little hard for me at the end because their goals and their strategies wasn't adding up to what we was meeting about and what we was selling to people.
Right.
You understand? And so that relationship, we let that go. But I definitely thank Reebok for, running with a lot of my ideas that we did. We had a lot of fun. But, when because what happens in company is like you go in with one group of people, and then it transitions to another group of people. Like you have a new CEO, you have a new CFO, you have a new COO, and that can change the whole brand strategy of the business.
Right.
Right. And then Adidas own Reebok, so they getting different strategies from them as well. Right. And so I think that I've just learned a lot that even the companies, even these big companies, are not in control like we think. Right. Because they have a board. Right, so they might want to go one way, but the board's saying, no, this is how we making all the money. Let's stick to this. But it's like, man, but like, we got so many great designers. Like, Kirby is over there, this one, that one. Like, let's double down on that because that's the culture. Instead, they probably double down on something that's not the culture, just to check a box, but then Kirby ends up getting the Fashion Award of the Year.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, once again, common sense.
Common sense.
Yeah.
You mentioned something in your answer that I want to touch on, and it's the value of education. And I know you love challenges. You ended up, and you brought it up earlier, doing a Harvard Business School. Talk about that experience and how that kind of like shaped your mentality jumping into different business ventures going forward from there.
Can't even lie, like I wasn't a big fan of school. I didn't have a great experience. My teachers were all underpaid. Where I grew up, everybody was underpaid. So you mix underpaid teachers with underpaid parents, kids in the class. Nobody wanted to be there. It was more about survival than reading a book or doing math at that time in the Bronx. And I just, it just wasn't a thing for me. I never had a academic problem. I just had survival was more on my mind, like getting from, Truman High School back, to Boston Road from Co-op City, or, going through the Valley, or, Edenwald Projects, and just forget being in school. Let's talk about getting to and from school every day when there's different wars going on outside that, like, no man's safe from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But like, holding your ground, protecting my little brothers, and really like getting that pass, because on your block, you cool.
Right.
But once you go across that other street, that's a whole nother person's block. So like you thinking of all these different things, and there was a lot of wars going on that the older, people on the older G's was doing, and we was getting caught in the middle of those things. So my mind was survival at that time, right? But then when I started, when I graduated out of the streets from working hard and doing my music and things like that, I was able to see a different side, to understand, if I had the chance to have a decent education, how important it is.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So I got to understand that, but it wasn't until my late 30s that I really realized that I really need, in order for me to go to the next level of where I'm at today, I had to put those 3 years in, because I didn't know the language of anything that I wanted to do going forward outside of music. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if you want to do things outside of what your core is, you're gonna have to learn another language that's out. That's like, okay, you're gonna have to learn Spanish, you're gonna have to learn Italian, you're gonna have to learn Mandarin if you plan on running things in those countries.
I love that.
You know, so that's how you gotta treat your businesses.
I love that. Like, can you kind of like expound on that even more, like the value of education for the black and brown kids out there? Because I know I got a little brother. He thinks he could just shortcut his way just being a smooth talker. A lot of them overlook the educational aspect.
But you know, I don't really put education in the color box, right? Because like, if everybody was educated, I think racism would be something that we don't even talk about. I think that, you know, people would know more about other people's religions and have more respect there. I think people would know about other people's tribes because we all just different tribes.
Yeah.
You understand? We breathe in the same air. We just in different tribes. So this tribe look different from that tribe. This tribe speak different from that tribe. But, you know, the not being educated on other people's tribes will make you ignorant to that tribe, right? And then the violence come, and then the things that we see we dealing with. That's an educational problem.
Wow.
You understand? That's an educational problem, and that's a you know, and why does that affect trickles down? Because you can't get no jobs, you can't feed your family like that. That all comes from education first, you know, which is why I feel that education should be free.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
That would be a game changer.
Yeah, I think teachers should be paid more and education should be free.
Speaking of free, I got to give you props because I remember your no commission event.
Yeah, we coming back with that too.
I love that. Little exclusive. We're bringing that back.
Yeah, we coming back big time, online and everything too.
That's so fire. And I say that because I remember, you know, the entry was free to that. And I remember how important it was for you to let the artist get 100% of the commission.
Yeah.
Why is it so important for you to protect the creatives at the end of the day?
It's important for me to protect the creative. One, I am a creative. And two, everybody that we look at that's walking as a creative, they just have to find that within them. Right? We're all creatives. Like, we was put on earth to create. We wasn't put on earth just to stand still and not do nothing. Like, everybody was put here as a creative. Now, what you choose to specialize and focus in as a creative is on you. But God put creativity in everybody. So that's why it's important. Yeah.
And a lot, you know what it is too, but a lot of people struggle with the tapping in part. Like, how do you tap in to that creativity aspect?
The way you tap in is you tap out. You understand?
It's a bar.
Yeah. The way you tap in is you tap out. Like, and because we doing this too much, we scrolling and caring about other people's dreams and lives, and we need to tap out of that and to be able to tap into your own energy. Because we don't even take time out to have ourselves think. Like, how can you begin to start your creative journey when you can't even sit an hour without touching a phone or being distracted and worrying about what somebody else is doing? Like, you have to spend a lot of time with yourself to understand yourself. And that goes with self-love, that goes with creativity, that goes with everything. Like, we don't even give our brain enough time to like digest the information or the trauma that we've seen. You know, like, how do you overcome that? By just blowing forward every day. You think it goes somewhere? No, it just piles up in a book bag.
Yeah.
You understand? And then the mental health thing kicks in because you're not dealing with nothing.
Preach.
You're just having everything just pass by when you got to take time out for yourself.
Let me pose you this, man, because you obviously heavy hitter. You've been around heavy hitters. You are around heavy hitters. Is there any like black, I guess, heavy hitters in hip hop on the entrepreneurial side that inspires you or just continues to motivate you or give you gems that you share with?
Yeah, you know, I call them the Twin Towers. You know, I speak with Diddy a lot. I speak with Jay a lot. And it's crazy because, you know, my relationship with them is the same amount of time. I probably know Puff a little bit longer. My grandfather and his grandfather was best friends. You know, they ran together.
Wow.
And then I produced on a Lox album before I did the J records. Yeah, I knew Puff longer. But, you know, just seeing those two guys that we all look up to go through everything. Like, a lot of people think that they just got money and it's easy. Like, I watched them go through different particular times, like throughout time, where everybody thought it was cool when they was, you know, wearing the crown and the book bags.
Wow.
You know, and that's what people gotta know. Like once you in this, it just don't stop. Like, you know, like I seen Jay like the other week and he was still working like he don't have no money. You understand? And like, you know, like you can live comfortable and you can have these different things, but you still gotta pick that phone up and you still gotta answer. It still work. You know what I'm saying? Like it still work.
And it's so crazy because like you mentioned Hove, you mentioned Puff and yourself. I always wonder when a guy has it all, how do you stay motivated?
Yeah, but what is a guy has it all? You know what I'm saying? Like what? Like how do you break that down? Like,
I guess you know what it is. I think because I'm thinking from a financial standpoint. When you have, I guess.
Yeah, but I already told you I know a bunch of poor kings.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? Like money doesn't like, and I hate and people always say you can say that because you have it. I'm telling you, I know a bunch of people that's 10 hoes and 10 J's and they not happy.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you're not happy within and you don't, your family's not happy and you're not, like for me, that's the real currency. Your health, all those different, like that's the real currency. Like that's having it all. Is your health right? Yes. Are your kids straight? Yes. You know, are you mentally, spiritually correct? Yes. Are you, you know, like just to have it all is like, I realize it's such basic things that we pass.
Wow.
Although we want like a lot of things as we should get for working hard for. But when you really break it down, it's just like, shit, we make life harder than it really is.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And maybe it took me a long time to get to this point, but I'm at this point and I know what I feel.
Yeah.
You know, like I know what I feel. I mean, like I want people to make an abundance of cash and all those things, and they got to go through that. But I want you to go through that so you can get to the real things.
It's like that J line. Hove did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. Yeah.
Yeah, nah, everybody got to go through their own things because everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know, like the world kind of like you look at you look at medicine like it's like one medicine for everybody. Everybody's different. Every human body is a different thing. You know, so the shoe don't fit. They make everything where the shoe one size fit all, and that's not what we are.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like everybody have to go through their own zone to really figure out what their purpose is and understand what their purpose is. Most people feel like they don't have a purpose because they haven't made no money yet. You see what I'm saying? You gotta find your purpose, because when you get the money and you don't know your purpose, how does that work?
Money can't be the end all be all.
How does that work? I just want how does that work?
Let me pose you this. I don't gotta tell you this. Music industry, the C-suite still dominated by white music execs. But why do you feel for yourself as a black businessman, as a producer, that it's important to continue to provide opportunities to people like us in this day and age?
Well, for one, we do the most consumption. We're the biggest consumers in the world. And for us not to have nothing to show for that is a big disappointment. But, we got to understand that a lot of these things, when they was developed, they had us in mind as workers, but not as partners. You see what I'm saying? So I think slowly, as everybody channel their energy into the educational side, they can change those positions.
Right.
Because it's all based on what you let people do. Right? So it's like, if you're educated on a level to where that when you're going into a contract, you're an owner instead of a worker, or a partner instead of just a worker. And it's okay to be a worker. I was a worker. When I go to new businesses, I'm a worker because I need to learn that business first.
How did you adopt that mindset though?
Because like I just kept seeing like a lot of my peers bring in the music industry and other businesses, and the music industry don't work in no other business but the music business, which it barely even works there.
Yeah.
Right? So you coming in, you're successful and sold 100 million records, but then you going over here to a car company trying to use that same mindset, and you haven't made one car yet.
Wow.
You understand? Like how, like you don't hold no ranks in that building yet. You got the person over there that's been here for 20 years that can break down the engine in their sleep. What are you going to do? Put your name on it? Like, there's no reason. It's a difference between an ambassador and a partner. But you have to be a student first. I don't even like the word worker. Let's call the word student. You have to be a student first. So now when you get to that place where you're like, you know what? I want to be a partner, and this is why I'm going to be a good partner. I know this, I know that, I did this, I did that, I put in this. I'm the best at this, I'm the best at that, I'm the best at this. So what makes me different from anybody else? They got to charge it to the game at that point. You see what I'm saying? But you have to invest that time in yourself as well, because we want everything, we want everybody to give us everything. It's just not like that. Like our culture lazy as hell sometimes.
You're going to start some shit saying that, brother.
Nah, it's the truth. It's the truth. You know
is it laziness, or we don't get the opportunities to produce?
This is a touchy one, because like I just speak the truth. Like, get the opportunity or create the opportunity. So is the opportunity supposed to get thrown in your lap, or do you wake up every day with a plan and a mindset and a goal to get to the opportunity, to get in front of it at least?
Right.
You understand? Like, when I see a lot of people that's not even trying to get in front of the opportunities. It's like, man, I'm the best here. Why they not coming and hollering at me? Man, because we don't know you. And they don't know you exist.
Yeah.
How are you planning on getting in front of these people with your presentation of greatness? Because we all have it. Like I said before, everybody have the greatness, but like a lot of people like to play victim. You know, a lot of people like to play victim. A lot of people cool with just getting the check from the government and not really doing nothing.
Flipping.
You know what I'm saying? But you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I can't tell people what to do. You got kids, you got responsibilities, do what you gotta do. But shit, I'll be running a play parallel with that. You understand? Like, okay, let me go, I got this right here, this gonna do this, and I'm gonna start this up with this, and I'm gonna flip this into this, and I'm gonna, like.
I love that, because it goes back to that question when I brought up that street mentality is still there. Like, even if you have it, it's always in the back of your mind, like that DNA, like, oh, but I still know I gotta make certain plays.
If you don't hustle, you don't eat. And that's just it. Like, a lot of people just don't have hustle in them also. You know, like, hustling is like a real thing.
Yeah.
That means you gotta actually get up and go do some shit. Right? Like, you can't just be chilling, smoking all day, playing video games all day, chasing girls all day. Like, you can't do none of that with real hustle. Like, I remember like sleeping in the studio floors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't really had no time for no friends. I ain't had no time for no women. I ain't had no time. Like, I think it saved me in the streets because I ain't had no time. Because I was just so focused on hustling what I was into at that particular time. And still today, like, I still have a hustle with me, which is why I could change the climate when I decide to and keep it interesting, because that comes with hustling and tapping in and go getting it and being disruptive and not being scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people just want to play safe. Like, I know I couldn't work a 9 to 5. I'm just not that person. I can't sit at a desk. My mind is too all over the place. So I know that that's not my thing. So I had to go even harder, because I know I'm not going to be good sitting at a desk. That's just not my thing. I just know it's not me. I'm born to play the field, you know, and do something that everybody going to tell me no, but I'm going to still want to do it.
Take your chances.
Yeah, I'm a disruptor.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you feel has been more beneficial for you in your career, like financially? Is it like the music aspect, or is it the ownership of the businesses that you have?
I think what benefited me most financially was my mindset, because all of that plays into all those different things. And going in with the different mindset got me a lot of opportunities, you know, and I just like, I just zoom in on what I love. You know, I zoom in on what I love, like those collaborations, like watch collaborations, car collab. Those are things that I really love. So why not go to the factory and try to form a partnership? You know, so now it's to the point where if I wanted to do my own car or my own watch or anything that I've been a part of, I know how to actually do it. If I wanted to do it, I know how to do it. Like, I can go to sleep with that. I didn't just buy something off the shelf that somebody put in front of me and say, oh, that's cool, you should do it, because everybody else is doing it. I was like, nah, like, I really like this. What's the movement in that? Let's go sit down. You know, Olivier Audemars, you name it. You know, like, these are like actual friends. Like Richard Mille, like, I actually know him. Like, this is for years. Like, these are actually friends And I admire what they do, and you know, they get a lot of money from our culture, so we should know the ins and outs of their culture as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Let me ask you this. I want to take it back to the BX. Are there any black businesses out in the BX specifically that like continues to be like dear to your heart or were dear to your heart growing up?
You know, Ghetto Gastro and the BX doing it real major. Shout out to that whole team. You know, there's a lot of different things that changed in the BX. I can't even lie, like, you know, a lot of the Latinos had it sold up way early. A lot of the Caribbeans had it sold up way early, and I really admired, you know, the mindset of, you know, different cultures coming here and really turning it up even more than we was turning it up, because we wasn't turning it up like that. You know, like as far as on the business, like what was put in front of us was the street way, was the quicker way and things like that. But then you sit there and before you know it, Poppy got a store, you know, bodega killing it, and you see the Chinese restaurant killing it, and you see all these, you know what I'm saying, the supermarket, like, and I'm just like, I just never really, even to this day, I never really understood why nobody from my hood ever did any of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, we, you know, when I go back to like looking at Do the Right Thing and all these different movies, I'm just like, yo, it was a lot of us, like, we could have sat down and came up with the strategy to own our neighborhood. Very simple. Like, because if people can come from different countries, different places, with nothing, not even a place to live, we already here, settled, feet planted on the ground, talking about this my block. I ain't seen none of us own none of those businesses.
You think it goes back to that hustle mentality you were just talking about?
I just think it goes back to, the hustle mentality, but I also think it goes back to the educational side, right, as well, you know. And then the ego as well, like, right? Like, we got to put the ego. Everybody want to be cool. So it's just like, when I was younger, I was packing bags. You know, like, I was packing bags at 6 years old, but like, my friends would come in there and make fun of me, but I was making $100 a day. You know what I'm saying? So if I wanted to get a G.I. Joe, I was cool. If I wanted to get a pair of J's, I was cool.
You didn't have to ask nobody. You had it.
Yeah, at 6 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but it just has to be in you. You know, like, some people just want to chill on the block all day. Like, yo, fuck that job. I'm right here. I just made 1,000 off of 2 sales. Right? So you have this. Like, we used to make, you know, fun of the person that was working that looked like you.
Right.
You know.
Let me pose you as continuing on the theme of black businesses. Are there like 3 black businesses that you would love to highlight and give homage to?
Yeah. I like to, you know, my brother Styles P, with Pharmacy for Life and Juices for Life.
I use those. Pharmacy for Life's a real thing.
Yeah, and the reason why I want to highlight P, not only because he's family, is because, like, to see where Styles and the Locks and everybody, like, where they come from, to them to, you know, have such a savvy movement going on right now.
Underrated savvy.
Yeah, around health, around, you know, all of these different things, and staying local in their hoods where they grew up from. They didn't take it somewhere way far. Like, these, you know, these are their blocks. Like, so you talking about service in the community? That's a direct service to the community. And when I go in the store, I just feel like at home, because I seen these guys, like, it was a different type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably come to stick the joint up, like, right?
A lot of,
you know, but just for them to have that positivity and moving and using their name, and, you know, using the money that they've made to reinvest and do different things into their people, I think is super stand up.
That's dope. What's some other ones, like 2 more if you had to think
of? I love skating.
Okay.
You know, I love skating. You know, everybody.
I be seeing you getting busy on the grant. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta do another skate zone from the crib. So the skate vibe I like is this sister. It's called Moonlight Rollers.
Okay.
You know, if anybody want any skates,
There you go.
Moonlight Rollers. They got the color light up wheels, everything. Like, it's a cool brand, and like, I bought a couple of pair from I didn't know that she owned it by herself.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow, like you own this whole company? I was like, wow, like sisters own like a skate company? And she just steady expanding, and, you know, me and my wife support the company. And, you know, look up Moonlight Rollers on Instagram and everything.
That's fire.
You know, the skates are decently priced, but they great quality as well. And
That's dope.
yeah. I think we might invest in that one. Yeah.
That'll be love.
I think we might invest in that one.
You got one more in you?
Oh, I got the one more I gotta say is my wife company. I gotta, you know, I'm not gonna sit here like I'm not proud of her.
Of course.
You know, Keys Soul Care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is it's not a makeup line, it's a skincare line, which, you know, she's been doing this for like years and years and years, and even, you know, stopped wearing makeup for a long period of time. You know, do she wear makeup now and then if she feel like it? She never put rules on it.
Mm-hmm.
She just like, yo, this is how I choose to be right now, right? Which I respect it, because a lot of people hide behind their makeup, and my wife was saying, listen, you know, the beauty is within.
Yeah.
Don't let this makeup make you artificial from who you are.
A lot of women with that. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think a lot of women look way more beautiful without makeup. I don't really like too much makeup. Sometimes, like, you'll see a beautiful person, it's just like, damn, we had cut back on the makeup. It would have been a whole
so caked up,
cakey, all cakey and sweaty sometimes, right?
I love that.
So, yeah, so, you know, it's available everywhere. You know, it's
That's
available
fire.
everywhere. Keys Soul Care, Big Zones.
Those are 3 big ones, so y'all make sure y'all get on there.
Big Zones. Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. I just got to bring up Verzuz one time. just one time, and I'm bringing it up in the case of this. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of black entrepreneurs, when they saw what you did with Verzuz, they gave them some hope, because they were like, yo, what Swizz was able to do in a pandemic, how you just shifted the shit, was like, you know what, maybe I can get my business popping in a pandemic. What advice would you give for upcoming entrepreneurs on how to create a business during the pandemic?
You know, one, you have to start with a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew Verzuz was a great idea when me and Kanye was on stage at Summer Jam. I knew then it was a great idea. It might have not been the right timing for the great idea. So in the pandemic, your great idea might be great timing. And that's what happened with Verzuz, because I had different things that I was planning on coming with instead of Verzuz. But then, unfortunately, the pandemic happened, and blessings to everybody that, you know, going through something or lost someone in the pandemic. I know it's a lot of people out there. I get phone calls every day, so I don't want to skip past that. So blessings to all the families. But I knew that I had a great idea, and then Tim knew that we had a great idea, and we just went for it. You know, we just went for it and just gauged the room and gauged the energy, and, you know, is where it's at today. You know, doing better numbers in daytime and nighttime television, more numbers in most of the award shows, more numbers in most of the, you know, sports events that's happening. I mean, if you think about it, Keisha Cole and Ashanti performed for a couple of thousand arenas, right? Yeah. Like if you was to fill them up, right? It's pretty.
And they ended up doing 1 million on the live, I remember.
Yeah, but those numbers, I think they ended up doing 9 million altogether.
All together on the platforms, yeah.
Yeah, 9 million altogether. But it's been like a breath of fresh air. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of work. It put me back in the music business, which I thought I was kind of like, you know, on the time out from. But if I'm gonna be back in the music business, I'm gonna be back in this way, where we're celebrating these great artists and giving them their gardens while they're alive, and putting good music in front of people. You know, not only what's the most popular song, but what about these people that wrote all the popular songs as well?
I love that.
Right,
and Jonte back. I remember.
Yeah, and just letting people know that there's no age limit on greatness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you're not 20, then the labels and the stations and different people feel like they don't. It's harder for you to get a shot.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't put So, which is why I put the artist on Verzuz I did.
Mm-hmm.
So people are excited to see something they don't get to see every day or hear every day. And then, their streams go up 700%, and, their sales go from number 40 to number 1. And,
Yes.
Now they're performing at all the award shows again. And you're seeing all these deals being done. Like, it's amazing to see the growth. We got a big announcement coming.
Oh, I can't wait.
Big announcement.
Can't wait to hear that, but it's a big resurgence for the people involved. I love that. I gotta ask you, because you touched on it. How do you know when it's the perfect, or not even the perfect, the right timing? I think that's to pursue a business, because you kind of said, like, back then when you did the Verzuz was dope with Kanye, but then you were like, it had to be about timing. How does one know when it's the right timing?
I mean, to know right timing, you just gotta just have your ears to the street, be on ground. It's like, okay, people can't go nowhere. There's no live performances. What else you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we had a better shot while everybody was staying still, rather than when everybody was moving around.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and that was just like common sense once again.
That's the theme,
Right?
y'all.
It was common sense. It's like, yo, let's put this in front of people right now while they don't have nothing to do. Like,
Right.
my brother D Nice is doing this thing. There was a couple of other things, but other than that, what is there to do?
Right.
There's millions of people just sitting there because you literally can't go out because it's the law damn near.
And you came and filled a need.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, I gotta ask if you can. You already gave like 1 million gems in this interview, but I know you got one hidden in the tuck. If you could take one gem, and drop it for the black community, the business entrepreneurs trying to find their way through, what gem would that be and why?
What I would tell everybody out there, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And the reason why I say that is because it's easy to be it's easy to do the normal regular thing you do every day, right? But to switch something up, that's the challenge, right? So it's just like, we got to break the mold of just being in a box. Like, we keep ourselves in a box.
Yeah.
Like, we keep thinking that people are putting us in a box. Why they got us in this box? No, you got yourself in the box, man. Get yourself out the box. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. That's just like you want to eat pizza all day. Yo, try another food today. You might like it.
You might like it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wear a different type of outfit today. You might like it. Say hi to somebody that you know that don't like you. You'll be surprised at the conversation. You understand?
It's pretty much just learning to eject that fear.
Life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's a bar.
You got to take the risk. Like, you have to. That's how you power yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm scared of heights. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm a skydive anytime
I was gonna
soon.
say, like, that's something you need to talk about. Like, when did you skydive or
No,
something?
I don't play with those type of things yet, but I live on a mountain.
There you go. It's a start. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. There's levels to it.
Like, I get vertigo and all this stuff, when we climbing the mountain and stuff, but life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and nobody around you might agree with your idea. That don't mean it's a bad idea. You might be that far ahead of them already. People told me I was crazy with everything I'm successful with. Like, everything.
Wow.
Every single thing.
That's their fear yeah.
But if I would have went off of that fear, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair. You know what I'm saying? So life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Remember that, tattoo that, do what you want. Make that your daily proverb.
Yeah, I might need a new tat for that.
I like that's really a bar right there,
Yeah,
man.
it's the truth, man.
Could be an album title too, so.
Hey.
Listen, y'all. Shout out to the brother Swizz Beatz, because he just gave us 1,000,001 gems
Blessings.
today. Shout out to Audiomack.
Audio Zone, Audiomack.
Zone.
Let's get it.
Happy Black History Month, y'all.
Cheer.